To order of the Texas Industrialized Building Code Council. It is 12:59. I would ask that everybody online.
Sorry. Hold on one second. And this seems very excessive, but legally we cannot start until
Till 1.
about 30 more seconds.
You got it. Nope, I get
We
it.
will be, sorry, I'm gonna. And that's how much. And we did not hear that.
Hear what?
Mr. Pickle he will not start it before time, and it is now 1 o'clock. I've talked long enough and we are ready.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'd like to call the meeting of the Texas Industrialized Building Code Council to start at 1 o'clock. I ask everyone online to please mute your microphones until you are prepared to speak. Please, when you do, announce your name before you speak. Our next item is roll call. Scott McDonald is present. Mr. Stephen Shane, present. Mr. Dub Smith. Dub Smith. Edward Martin. Edward Martin. Janet Hoffman. Janet Hoffman. Suzanne Arnold.
Present.
Banon Kuhn.
Present.
Otis Jones. Let's see on the screen. Otis Jones.
Mr. Jones, can you unmute your mic?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Thank you. And we can see you as well.
Yeah, I was having audio issues. Sorry about that.
Oh. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
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 So Carol Pruitt,
Here.
Johnny Scholl,
Present.
Scooter Lofton,
Present.
Suzanne Arnold.
Present.
Okay, you can hear us. Okay.
Otis Jones too, right?
Otis Jones.
Here.
Otis Jones.
Here.
Thank you. Roll call is complete.
Thanks for your patience, presiding officer.
Absolutely. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the open meetings training, which we have tabled. So the next item we will look at is approval of the minutes. You have been provided the minutes of the April 14th meeting in your packet. Are there any comments? Any corrections? If not, then I would look for a motion and a second.
Motion to approve. Oh, this is Stephen Shang. Motion to approve.
Have a motion?
Carol Pruitt, second.
Carol Pruitt is a second. Anna?
Yes, sir. I'll go ahead and do the roll call for y'all. Stephen Shane,
Aye.
Susan Arnold,
Aye.
Benoit Curian,
Aye.
Otis Jones,
Aye.
Scooter Lofton,
Aye.
Johnny Scholl,
Aye.
Carol Pruitt,
Aye.
To approve.
Devin Duvac,
Aye.
and presiding officer Scott McDonald.
Aye.
Motion passes, sir.
Thank you. At this time, we have public comment. Any person wishing to address the council should complete a form. Do we have any?
We do not, no, sir.
Okay. We did in fact receive one public comment via email. This was provided to the council members yesterday afternoon. Next item on the agenda is our staff reports. The first will be the licensing division. And Chloe Whalen is going to present that.
Correct. Good afternoon, Presiding Officer McDonald and board members. My name is Chloe Whalen. I am the licensing manager for the IHB program. We'll start with the statistics that you have before you. Manufacturers, we issued 3 new licenses, renewed 13 licenses, and the total population for the manufacturers is 231. For builders, we issued 6 new licenses, renewed 34, and that total population is 372. For third-party inspectors, we issued 3 new licenses, renewed 9, and that population is 68. For third-party inspection agencies, there have been no renewals, no new licenses, and that population is 6. For design review agencies, there are new licenses, no renewals, and that population is 6. That concludes my report. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have regarding license.
Thank you.
Where can we find the new licenses for just a listing of the, like, for example, the 3 manufacturers?
That list is on our website. I will look it up and give you the exact link on where to find it, and then I'll provide that to Anna, and she'll be able to share that with you.
Great.
Any other questions from the board? Thank you. We'll move to our next item. I'm sorry?
Said welcome.
Oh, thank you. Our customer service division.
Good afternoon, Presiding Officer McDonald, Vice Presiding Officer Shang, and council members. My name is Jacqueline Rush. I am a manager in the customer service department, and I was asked to share statistics in the way of numbers of phone calls received in fiscal year 2022 and what we have so far for fiscal year 2023. The numbers are on the report. that you have before you and that it's being broadcast to the public at the moment. Calls from customers represent things like wanting to learn more about the requirements of the program, looking to see if they need to register with TDLR, simple website navigation assistance on general information, such as where to find registering lists or laws and rules, and to verify what kind of forms they need are some examples of the phone calls that we receive at the contact center. Customers with more technical and in-depth questions contact our Regulatory Program Management Division by email at the address found on the website for that program page. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? Thank you, Jacqueline. Enforcement Division. Rachel,
Would you like me to move forward or stay here?
you are absolutely fine.
Perfect. Good afternoon, council members. My name is Rachel Station. I'm a prosecutor in the Enforcement Division. I'll begin with the personnel updates. We had 2 promotions. Sarah McKinney and I, we were promoted from attorney 2 to attorney 3. Sarah's on beauty and wellness, and I'm on the building and mechanical team. Jumping into the statistics, you can see the breakdown between IHB, the program, and TDLR as a whole for fiscal year 2022 versus the performance measures, and that's what tells legislature how TDLR is doing. In fiscal year 2022, our intake had 35 IHB complaints. We opened 8 IHB cases and closed 5. The average time to close was about 878 days. We resolved 20% of the cases in 6 months. 20% resulted in a disciplinary action, and we had 12 cases pending at the end of fiscal year 2022. The next graph shows us the source or the breakdown of where the cases came from, and they were 100% consumer-based. Next is the case outcomes, and that's broken down into the different types of orders we get from the program. There were no commission orders or defaults, 1 signed agreed order, and 4 cases that were informally resolved. The next one are the top allegations at opening, and those numbers reflect the allegations listed in the complaint when the case is first opened. So in fiscal year 2022, the top violations were construction building codes and
We lost her.
I think we're good. That last part of the report, I think.
I think the biggest change is probably we had a larger number of days taken to close a case. Previously, it was about 500 something days, and now it's 878. And the reason is we were able to close some of the cases that were very old. So it's a good thing. So we try to get compliance, so that takes a little bit longer to close the case, and we were able to close some of our oldest and most difficult cases. So that's probably the biggest change that you're seeing from last report.
Great, thank you. No, I know there's an awful lot of work to do, never enough staff to do it in. So we always appreciate compliance rather than enforcement, so that's great. Any other questions from the board? Very good, thank you. Next, we will go to the regulatory programs. Kelly?
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Kelly. I'm the team lead for the IHP program. On October 1st, the RPM division reorganized programs and created three program sections. Consumer protection, health and wellness, and building safety. The IHP program was placed in the building safety section, which is managed by the building safety section manager, Delisa Hamilton. She's not here today, but she's on leave, but we are happy to have her. I'm also happy to announce that we have hired a new team member to fill my old position, and he should be starting February 1st. So, as far as statistics, revenue from decals and insignias and alterations, fiscal year 22 was total was 7,073. Total revenue was 315,641. Fiscal year 23 is only for September and October, so it's just the 2 months. Total revenue 1,252. I'm sorry, number of decals 1,252. Total revenue 59,526. In-plant inspections by third parties. Fiscal year 22, we had 7,246. Total number of facilities inspected was 1,090. Fiscal year 23, 1,553. And total facilities inspected 197. Certification inspections, fiscal year 22. I've kind of broke this down. So there was 34 that were 34 inspections, in-person inspections by staff, and 48 inspections that were remote video inspections. And then the number of certifications performed by third-party inspectors were 35. And again, we provide oversight remotely. A lot of times it's remotely with the third party. Fiscal year 23, we had 3 in-person by staff and 3 remote video inspections, and 5 inspections, certification inspections by third-party inspectors. Plans approved by third parties, fiscal year 22, 1,300, and fiscal year 23, 263. Plans reviewed by staff, fiscal year 22, 104, fiscal year 23, 12. Manufacturers that were certified since our last meeting, 6. Certifications in process, we have 21 that are in process, and we have 100% inspection in process. That's all I have. Any questions?
Very good, thank you. Any questions of the council?
Okay.
Okay, any questions of the council? You didn't miss anything, I promise.
Scott, question for Kelly. Kelly, on the manufacturer certified since last meeting, the last one does not have a date certified.
Oh,
Yeah,
that,
there was an oversight on my part, but it is in there now.
Okay, got it. Just wanted to clarify that they were in fact certified.
Very good. Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Kelly. And then our final report is the executive office, and Ms. Marion will address that.
Yes, good afternoon, council and members and everyone out there who is watching this meeting. Our section today for executive office starts off with legislative appropriations request. It's an update. The last time we had a meeting, we did have our request for that LAR, as we call it, but we had about a month to prepare it. So we got it prepared within the 30-day period, which was timely. So in the state of Texas, with agencies like ours, we have sort of a running tally of how we do things. I'll start with the LAR because that's where we are on the meeting. And then, as we know, on deck, we have our legislative session, which is coming up before you know it. Jeff Copas, who's our guru in government relations and who follows these bills meticulously, he's been giving me a running tally. So far, we have filed for this upcoming session, which starts the week of January 10th, 1,133 House and Senate bills, including resolutions. There have been 1,227 bills and resolutions filed. And this is December, and we will have a whole bunch more that are filed. Currently, TDLR government relations staff is monitoring about 71 bills that we see that may have some sort of impact on our licensees. Currently, none of those appear to impact IHB. But fear not, on that week starting January 10th, we will have all of this available on our website in its own dedicated section. And government relations is so kind to separate them. You don't have to go through every bill and try to say, what does this affect? They kind of section them out to let you know what's affecting this licensee, what's affecting that licensee. So after we go through legislative session, after sine die, it is bill implementation. So whatever bills finally pass, and it's a very small amount of bills that actually get through this whole process. Those that are affecting TDLR's licensees will then start to implement those bills. Then once we finish that, we move to our strategic planning, which is our wake-up call to say, what have we done well? What can we do better? And it sets up again for us to then have our legislative appropriations requests. So it's kind of an unending thing. We know the drill. You don't have to worry about the drill, but we will keep you informed of it as we move ahead. But just to give you an update, LAR is published and it's on our website for your review. It's long, but it's a good read if you have time. Take it in and pick out some parts you want to take a look at, and then be aware that the session starts soon. So some things will change, right? So next we have communication outreach statistics. This is our informal tally of a look in the day of the website for the Industrialized Housing and Buildings Program page. For the last 6 months, we've had a little over 38,000 views, an average of 200 per day, a little over 200 per day. Most of those are from a desktop computer. The rest, about 36% from a smartphone, and we do have that tablet hanging on with just a little bit. Top reason for visiting the site: forms, what you need to know before purchasing an industrialized home or building, registrant lists, frequently asked questions, and mandatory building codes. That's our top 5. And our folks, thank you, Josh, keep tally of this to make sure it's still relevant. We try to just make everything clear here at TDLR in every aspect that's on our website. If you give us a call, we really do try our best, and we want to put it out there so you can get it as clear as possible. And we have folks that are tasked to do that, and they work really hard, and I think they do it really well. Now, that's the end of my report. However, we have Mr. David Gonzalez here today, and he's our Deputy Executive Director. So happy to have him here, and I'm not gonna steal his thunder. I'm gonna let him talk for himself, but I drug him out of his office. I sent him a message and said, David, are you coming to the meeting? No response. And so I just walked over and got him. So we're so happy that he could join us today.
Thank you, Ms. Mary Winston. David Gonzalez, Deputy Executive Director. It is with both excitement, joy, and a little bit of remorse that I share with you. After 26 and a half years, I am retiring at the end of this month. And I'm glad that Mary came to get me. I was going to be participating virtually, but I'm glad y'all are here, that I can see your faces. I'm glad I can see your faces on the screen as well. But I just want to thank y'all. This agency does not run without the participation of this council, the input that we receive, the feedback, the technical expertise. Our staff are very talented. They work very hard, as you know, to get things done. But we can't do it without the feedback that we get from this council. And actually, even the public members, thank you, public, for being here as well. I realize the numbers are not big. We're after COVID. We're doing a lot of things virtually. The participation is still important if you want government to work for you. So thank you for all those out there that have contributed over the years. Y'all have made it a joy for me to work here, to participate here, to be proud, to serve as a public servant here at TDLR, because we do make a difference. We try hard. And the people that are working here that I'm passing the baton on to, I know how passionate they are about trying to do a good job for the citizens that we serve. So thank y'all. Just excited to get on with the next chapter of my life and leave it to these great people to carry on. The most important things in the LAR, we're asking for more money for our staff. Hopefully the legislature will help staff with those monies and funding. We'll see about that. But a new licensing system, which we've been working on for years. And eventually, I thought it would happen in my tenure here. It did not, but perhaps in my lifetime, it will happen. I know we've got the right staff working on it. So thank you very much again for your service. And that's all I wanted to share.
Thank you, David. I was hopeful that we'd lose the feed again, so then you couldn't communicate that, and maybe you couldn't leave us. So I've had the privilege of working with you for many years. You will be sorely missed and leave a gaping hole in TDLR. Very, very happy for you and sad for us. So congratulations and best of luck. And I'm glad you were drugged down here so we can at least see you face to face.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Appreciate it.
I definitely echo that, David. Great job. Thanks for everything you've done. Good luck in the next chapter of your life.
Thank you, Mr. Cheney.
Any questions of the council on the executive office report? Thank you. All right, the next item that we have on the agenda is discussion and possible action regarding third-party inspectors, third-party inspection agencies, third-party site inspectors, and design review agencies. Kelly?
Yeah, so we have one third-party inspector with PFS. His name is Douglas Dick. We have one DRA, Intertech ATI, and one third-party inspection agency, also Intertech ATI, that have met the criteria for interim approval and just need to request approval from the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion? Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Anand, do you want to call for?
Yes, sir. Stephen Shang,
Aye.
Susan Arnold,
Aye.
Benoit Curian,
Aye.
Otis Jones,
Aye.
Scooter Lofton,
Aye.
Johnny Scholl,
Aye.
Carol Pruitt,
Aye.
Devin Duboc,
Aye.
and presiding officer Scott McDonald.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a staff update regarding the rules amendments to 16 Tech Chapter 70.100, 70.101 to adopt the 2021 building codes, the 2020 National Electric Code, and amendments to each. And Robert, take it away.
Thank you, Council Chair McDonald and council members. My name is Robert Reyes, Assistant General Counsel. Happy to be here and to speak to you all today. This is my first meeting with you all as Assistant GC, taking over the program from Molly Fidel. A quick update for you on the adoption of amendments to 70.100 and 70.101. As y'all are aware, we're still working with the 2015 versions of the I-codes and the 14 version of the NEC. Our goal with this first phase of amendments and updates to the rules is to get us to the 2021 version of the iCodes and 2020 version of the NEC. The initial draft of the rules has been completed. It's now been forwarded to Ms. Kelly and Mr. Britton of RPM for their initial review. Due to the complexity of the drafting and the technical nature of what we're trying to accomplish, I've asked them to look at it before I send it on to the rules work group. These are a couple of extra steps in our usual rulemaking process. However, we're looking at over 6 years of additional information, new information since those 2015 codes. So I want to make sure that we do things right the first time, because we certainly don't want to find little errors here and there and then have to do amendments on top of amendments. So I've asked them to take a look at it. I know that they have a ton of responsibilities on their plate, but I know they're going to get to it as fast as they can. Then after their review and their edits, if there's anything that needs to be edited or revised, I'll then call a meeting with the rules work group, who will then have a chance to look at it and offer their perspective on the drafting. We're looking right now at a possible adoption in the third quarter of 2023. That's not too far away, actually, but we're doing our best to move things along as soon as possible. With the amount of work that we've had in the GC office, the amount of work that others have the work that others will need to do for the rules in order to get them through our rulemaking process, it will take a bit of time, but I'm optimistic we can get them done here in the third quarter of 2023. After those, getting back to what I was talking about the process, after those 2 meetings, the council will have at least 2 looks at the code amendments, and before there's a vote taken to adopt them. So fear not, everybody will have a chance to have a look at them and to ask any questions of staff where they find appropriate. So looking forward to doing that with you all. The next steps after we have the review by RPM staff and the rules work group is to send the draft over to the policy research and budget analyst for a fiscal impact form statement, and also send that same draft to division directors, managers, and staff for internal review. So a lot on our plate to get through. Hopefully we can get through a lot of that during this holiday season, even though people will be taking leave, and keeping a little more than an eye on the new legislative session that will be starting in mid-January. But we're working, we're progressing, and I appreciate y'all's patience with the work that we're trying to do.
Thank you, Mr. Ramos. Any questions?
Yes, Carol Pruitt. Yes, I'm just curious if you, during your initial process, have looked at Chapter 11 and getting the accessibility requirements coordinated with the TDLR, Texas Accessibility Standards.
Right now, with the Texas Accessibility Standards, they're also working through a code review. So right now, what we have are standards that we know are currently in there. We may have to go back and do a review after they possibly make changes. We're not sure if they're going to make changes to specific section numbers or anything of that nature, but we will keep an eye to that, just to make sure that any crossover or any equivalents are documented within our rules. I hope I answered your question with that.
Yeah, sort of. I was hoping that we would simply, for those projects subject to the standards, reference and deem those equivalent instead of adopting the 21, which is frankly substantially more restrictive and complicated than in Chapter 11. The reference to the ICCA 117.1 is a much more aggressive standard than the current state standard.
I'll discuss that, Mr. Pruitt, with RPM and fully understand what those changes would contemplate. So I appreciate you bringing that up. I will speak to Kelly and Ms. Kelly and Mr. Britton about that, and to fully understand what the ask is and how it might change the complexion of our rule amendments.
And then I had one other question. Are you planning to move forward with the 21 Energy Code? Or are you going to consider staying on the 2015 that's adopted by the State Energy Office?
Right now, we're contemplating moving all international codes to the 2021 version. That's what we've looked at. If there's anything that you may have concerns about, I would definitely ask you to email those concerns to me, and we can, or to the rules work group, and we can definitely discuss what options we have and what may be available to us at this time.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments or questions from the council?
Robert, this is Stephen Shang. What could risk that timeline of getting the 2021 I-codes adopted by Q3 of 2023? What should we be aware of as a council as bottlenecks?
Sure. The current legislative session is about to start mid-January of next year. So there's a lot of bandwidth taken up from not only GC side, but also RPM and whatever other divisions are pulled in to answer questions that the executive office may have, or that representatives or state representatives or senators may have in terms of other items that they are wanting to have progress through the process up across the street there at the Capitol. So that may be a little bit of a concern with the rulemaking process. A lot of different offices and divisions here at TDLR are used for their expertise and to gather up all the necessary documentation to, for instance, send it to the governor's office for its review before the council takes its first look at it. That's part of the rulemaking process. So there's a lot of offices, a lot of different individuals with their certain expertise that they need to take a look at it. So there may be some issues in regards to the bandwidth taken up with the legislature, as well as other items that come up on an emergency basis. So those are just a couple of things that might come up, but we're going to stay positive, and we're going to try to get this through as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and my primary concern for asking that is just if we slip off Q3 of 2023, it's not too much further past that we get into 2024, and at that point, the 2024 I-codes will be published, so we'll already be yet another code cycle behind.
Robert, Mary Winston, I just want to jump in and thank you, Robert, and Kelly, and everybody who knows what they're doing in this program. But we do have a process, and I understand what you're saying, because it seems that we're always trying to catch up sometimes. So we know that session is coming up, and we do have folks that are dedicated to legislative session matters, but we also have folks who are dedicated to these matters. So we'll follow that process. Robert's right, we have a lot of different eyes that have to look at things, but that's with every change that we do. We shouldn't run into any problems because we try to build in to that process for these kind of things. But if we come up against something, or if we feel like, oh, we're slipping off this cliff a little bit here, we'll let you know.
Please,
Yeah, I want to thank the council and Mr. Pruitt, and that you're in that box, but you were right here. That's why we have you guys and ladies, thank you, because we need that kind of expertise, right? Because we know what we know, but that gave us more information. Kelly probably already knows it, but they gave us more information for us to digest and look at. But yes, we will make you aware if we're running behind, if something looks odd, but we have built into the process time for these different steps to take place. So, and we know the next one's coming. You know,
Yeah.
we are on that train with you.
Right.
This is David Gonzalez, Deputy Executive Director. I'm encouraged, Mr. Chang. In past years, we were always trying to stay a cycle or even two behind because of product and things that were still trying to be addressed in this particular industry. So the fact that you're asking and inquiring, when are we gonna get to the next one? That is a show of progress. So I'm really encouraged by that. Obviously, the code committees have work to do. We have some review to do, but I'm very encouraged of where we're at this point. We're only one code cycle behind, and maybe the next one will be even closer. So thank you for the inquiry. What I'm hearing is, if we had a work group of these participants, maybe that they'd like to be on the cycle as it changes, is what I'm hearing?
Perhaps. I mean, more than anything else, I think, Texas, we're seen as a thought leader in the modular industry.
I agree.
And, it's not something you can just take for granted. So we get too far behind on the codes, then people start to wonder, are we still kind of a leader? And I would like us as a state to stay that way.
We would too.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Very good. Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Mr. Reyes.
Thank you all.
Recommended items for the next council meeting for the agenda.
We always kind of have a lull here in every meeting, whether it's virtual or in real life. It's like, and I get that because we're kind of processing what we're doing here today. And I always offer our website or our address, email address, advisory.boards@tdlr.texas.gov, because it's manned by several folks. We monitor it. And if you don't have anything today, you can come up with something and send it to us at that time. I'm sure we will have updates at our next meeting staff-wise as to anything in the session that occurs, as well as if Kelly has any updates that she would have for us the next time. And if the council does not have anything today, but if they think of something that is like, okay, I'd like to bring that up, please email advisory.boards and also loop in Kelly.
Do we think the next meeting will be in conjunction with the approval of the 2021 building codes, or do we think it'll be after that? Because that would be a nice thing to get an update on, depending on when the next meeting is.
I'm looking at our technical folks.
Well, that's our next agenda item will
Yeah.
really be the date. So to that point, and I don't know what your thoughts are as far as where we may be in the review process and recommendation process.
Would you like to
from
coincide
staff.
that next meeting with that update?
Well, it makes the most sense.
Okay.
I don't know that
Okay,
we have
we can do that.
anything that's gonna be pressing other than that.
Okay.
And truly, we can do this as a TBA and then, or TBD, excuse me. And Anna can send out just a poll, work with Kelly. I think that is probably one of the larger items as far as just any of the rules and the rule updates. And I think there's some other provisions beyond the codes that we need to talk through. So certainly that would be an agenda item.
Mhm.
And then I think the date probably makes the most sense and certainly don't want to put it off.
We'll coordinate internally. Anna always polls the boards and committees and we'll make sure with you that it's good for that date, and we'll coordinate with the other divisions.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
And Kelly and I had a request, and I thought if it would be beneficial for you is for ICC to be able to present, and I don't know if you've had any of that dialogue with any of the ICC staff to discuss really the appendice and tiny homes and some of the standards. I know you were intimately involved with that, so.
Yeah, I have not.
Would there be value for yourself as well as staff and the council to have them present at the next meeting? You can think about it, we can talk about it offline or.
Okay, yeah, how about we talk about it, yeah. After.
Okay. Fellow council members, do you have any items? Certainly don't be shy and just as Mary had indicated, if there are things that you think of at a later date that you want to submit, something that may be beneficial for you and or peers to better understand the work that's being performed or any of those other just topics that would provide some insight as to the work being done by the council or any of those types of items, I encourage you to put forward those ideas. No other comments? Okay. So we'll coordinate our next council meeting agenda as well as the date and time through Anna, and we will kind of go from there. I'll take this opportunity and the privilege to thank all of you for the work that you've done on the council. I wish you all the best and happiest of holidays, that you're all safe, get to spend a little bit of quality time, family time, get a little bit out of the routine of what we do day in and day out. And again, I thank you all for the service that you provide. The state of Texas, I think, thanks us all. With that, I don't think we need a motion.
No, sir.
I will call this meeting adjourned at 1:45.